When we decide to get into trading or thinking about getting into trading, there's a really, really important question that we need to answer before we decide to become a trader. And this question is actually based on statistics. And you probably heard this one before. And this one is 90% of the people lose 90% of their money when they decide to trade. So then the real question is, and this is so important, is what makes you think that you're not the 90%? Isn't that such a great question? And when I traded the first time, I've seen the stat. I mean, the numbers are a little bit different based on like where platform or like where you're looking. But like basically, like the heart of the stat is there's a lot of people, like 80, 90, whatever percent, lose 90% of their money, or like whatever, however many percent, but 80 or 90% lose their money. So what makes you think that you are the 10% who wins, right? And when I saw that stat when I was beginning to trade, I just like, it's like you're just like full of optimism. And when you see a stat like that, yeah, okay, I get that's the stat. That's not me. That won't be me. Is how I thought about it, right? And at that time, like I didn't really pay much attention. It's just like one of those things that you know it's possible. And you're just like, yeah, that won't be me. So you just start trading right away, and end up losing 90% of your money. Been there, done that. And I know other people who have as well, right? So when I decided to get back into trading the second time, I really have to sit with that and like really have to contemplate that and really have to journal it out. And then so my first thought is, well, yeah, that's a really great question. What makes me think that I am not the 90% and that I will be the 10%? And then I realized that, well, actually, I've already had that 90% experience. Like I am statistics. I was one of those people, the 90% who lost 90% of their money. My husband is also the same thing. So I've had that experience, and now I'm back for the opposite experience. Because it's the law of opposites, right? If I can lose $500,000 in, I think it was a little bit over a year, then that means that I can also make $500,000 in a little bit over a year. Because if one exists, the other also exists. So, but like all jokes aside, but like actually that is a spiritual truth, the law of opposites. So, so run with that if that resonates with you. So I really had to journal out what makes me think that I am now not the 90% and that I will not lose 90% of the money. And the truth is, being who I am now, I am probably still in the 90%, even though in the last, what is this, like 4 years, I have done so much work on myself, my emotional intelligence, my wealth consciousness, my relationship with money, like healing a lot of past wounds, like whether it's through coaching, mentoring, or like food therapy. Like I have done so much work in this arena that I think that I'm just a different person today than I was when I traded last time, right? So that makes me believe that that's one of the reasons why I can now shift over to the 10% winner category. But I also realize that I have a lot of maybe thinking patterns and psychology around trading that I haven't shifted and reprogrammed my brain for yet. So, which is why it's really important to have a mentor who is profitable, who understands psychology, who understands emotions, to show you how to think like a 10%. And so that's one of the things that I have to process. And I also have to do a lot of processing too, because another stat says that, okay, hang on a second. Let me just pull up my notes. Ugh. Another stat says that they say that it'll take 3 years for someone to be profitable and prepare to have $3,000 to $5,000 that I'm ready to lose. Well, isn't that interesting? Let's think about that for a second. Right? If that is what they say, then do I have the, what's the word? Resilience? Do I have the grit to stick it out for 3 years? What if it takes what if it takes 6 years? What if it takes 9 years? Do I have the resilience and the agility to stick around for that long? And how many, what's the stat? $3,000 to $5,000 am I ready to, am I willing to lose? Am I willing to lose it once? Am I willing to lose it twice? Am I willing to lose it 3 times? Right? Like, these are the questions that are so valuable to process through before we decide to get into trading. Because if these are the stats and the market is built and designed to take our money, just like the casino, the house always wins, well, then how do I win? What's the possibility of me winning? Because I know there's a possibility, because I know people who've done it. So how did they win? Right? So like, these are the things that we have to process through so that we can shift to the 10% who are winners in this game. So that's one of the things that I have to process through. And honestly, like, this is my answer, is I will, like, okay, what if it took me 3 years and I lose, like, what if it takes me 6 or 9 years? What if it takes me like 3,000 to 5,000 10 times? What if I lose everything in the process? What if I lose all my money in the process of becoming a profitable trader? I mean, we don't like to think about these things. And honestly, we don't think about it because it does not feel good emotionally and psychology to think about it, because it activates all our fears, right? Like these are survival instincts that are being triggered. And the thing is, we all have these fears and we just push it to the back of our mind and we don't think about them because it's uncomfortable to think about. But then the thing is, I don't know how to say this properly, but I manifested all my fears. That's how I lost $500,000, because I have what used to be an unconscious fear of losing all my money. I mean, I didn't lose all my money. I lost like $500,000, which is a big part of our portfolio, especially when you're financially independent and you are living off of your portfolio. Like, that like hurts, right? So one thing I know through all the coaching that I've done, through all the coaching that I received, and through walking people through the people that I coach to walk them through this process, is we spiral down. Is we walk up the worst case scenario. Because what happens is, in our brain, is when we are scared, when we get into something, the reason, like, fear is actually a good thing, because it's there to protect us. So then when we have a fear of losing money, it's our brain's way of making sure that we have enough money to live and we have enough money to survive, right? Like, it's actually a really good thing. So it brings in this fear that, hey, you could lose all your money. And then now, because our brain is in an unknown, because we also have a, it's just like being human to want to be certain. Like, we want to know what happens in the future, because if we have that certainty, then it keeps us safe. it keeps us alive, right? So we are in fear is because our brain is in uncertainty. Like, what happens if you lose all your money? Like, so that we walk out the worst case scenario and we spiral down so that we get to like the bottom of like the lowest that we can go. And then now we can start spiraling back up. Because if we follow that thought, okay, well, what if I started trading and I lose all my money, right? Like I lose all my cash. Okay, well, can I make more money? I could do that, right? What if I lose my lifestyle? What if I can't live where I want to live anymore? Okay, well, I can go back to Canada and live in the house that I still have, and I still have a place to live. and then I'm going to like get back into trading because I'm not quitting. So then if I do that, then my husband could get a job, right? I know he could start making like 110 grand, like really easily right away. And then I can start squirreling money away. Like if I manage our finances really well, manage our expenses really well, I know I can squirrel away another $3,000 to $5,000 to start trading again. And this time I would be in a much different position because I would be a different person because of all the lessons that I've learned, right? So get back at it again. And then, okay, what if I lose the house and now I'll have like no house? Well, I can always move back in with my dad. Move back to Vancouver with my whole entire family, live in my dad's house for a little bit, and my husband could work. And again, I can like squirrel away money, right? How many $3,000 to $5,000 can I squirrel away? Like if I am persistent enough and if I invest in myself enough, actually, I think it's interesting that I use the word enough twice. Maybe there's something there for me. But if I'm persistent and I keep going and I don't quit, eventually I will figure it out. With mentorship, with support, it will happen. So then when we spiral down that way, right, the worst case scenario, and figure things out, and then we spiral back up, now we have certainty. Like it gives our brain something to hold on to, something that we can be certain with, that we are not going to die. We will still be okay. So that's one of the things I have to process. And that's how you could process this too, if you choose to. Another question that I asked myself is like, okay, right. Another question I asked myself is, am I going to quit trading if it gets to that point? Like, at what point will I quit? Will I quit at any point? And I feel like the answer is no, because I am now so fucking close. I've spent 3, 6, 9 years, however many years. I've lost how many $3,000 to $5,000? I am so freaking close. Why would I quit? Okay. So now, if this whole process is about being a profitable trader, what does it look like to become one without attachment? And I feel like this is a really big question. And because let's put it this way. If I am so attached to my result of making money, I feel like that could be a really big hindrance for me. Instead, if I focus on becoming, like instead of being attached to things that's on the outside world of a result of making money, instead, if I turn inward and focus on my becoming a profitable trader, now it's an inner game. It's an inner game. It's about who I'm being, and manifested my becoming a profitable trader. And then even for both of these things, what if I do it without attachment? And when I say without attachment, it doesn't mean it doesn't mean detaching from the desire. it means this is like where the also the if you want to use another word, it's called surrendering. I don't like I have this desire, I have this goal, right? To make money, to become a profitable trader. And then so that is the desire, is to become a profitable trader, and we don't let go of the desire. Actually, that's not even it. Like that's not my goal. I don't care whether I'm a profitable trader or not. I want to live the life that I want to live. I have desires that of an amazing life for the full enjoyment of life, and that is what my end goal is. And then so being a profitable trader, making money is just a means to an end. You see that? So what if I hold on to the desire of this life that I have created for myself that actually is in the spiritual right now? Like it's in the unseen right now. I have lived this life in my how do you call it? In my mind. In my mind, I have already lived this life. I experienced this life. I've lived this life in my mind. And then now it's about then how do I letting the universe bring this into my reality, right? So then now it's about surrendering how it's going to come and when it's going to come and what it looks like. It's about surrendering these things and not having any attachment to how and when and what it looks like. Because the desire is there. The desire is my soul desire, is what my soul came here to experience. So that will always come to pass because that's what my soul came here to experience. Like it has to work that way because this desire is for me. So then how it comes about doesn't matter. When it comes about, it will come when it comes. So then one of the things that really causes a lot of pain and suffering, actually suffering is optional. Like we will always experience pain, but it's up to us whether we suffer or not. And where we create our own suffering is when we are so attached to the outcome. We are so attached to a timeline. We are so attached to a number of like a dollar amount. We are so attached to what it should look like and how it should come. That's where we create a lot of suffering because like that's when we get into the experience of why isn't this working? I thought it would work out by now. I thought it will be different. And then so we create like this whole thing and we wrap our minds around why it's not working the way I thought that it would when I worked so hard, right? When I worked so hard, I put in so much time, effort, money, focus, energy into this thing. Why isn't it fucking working? So we create our own suffering by being attached to these things. Just deep breath here, like a sign of exhale. When we can let go and surrender and know that as long as we do what feels right, like we're always being guided. So then as long as we do our part, the universe has our back. When I conspire with myself for my desires, the universe, God, the divine, Mother Nature, well, like whatever you want to call it, right? Like whatever floats your boat will conspire with you, with your desires, because what you want is also what God wants for you because he gave you those desires. So that's something that I have to process through. Another thing that might really help you is, what is the feeling in my body I try to avoid experiencing the most? And I am sure that no trading mentor or coach ever like ask you this question. Like that's not even a thing in their peripheral. Okay. Because when you think about it, why do we lose? Like, why do 90% of the people lose their money? Because it does not feel good to lose. And it does not feel good to be wrong, to make a mistake. Those things does not feel good. And we try to avoid it for all costs. That's why we don't exit a trade when we know we should. We have our stop loss. We know our rules. We don't exit the trade because it confirms that we are wrong. We made a mistake and we don't like that. We don't like the feeling of that. So then if I don't exit the trade, then I think that I don't have to feel that. But in fact, I am actually feeling it at the worst in this moment where I don't want to exit. Like that is like the worst. Like that is like the most of suffering right there. Because if you actually get out, then that actually creates a bit of relief for your suffering. Okay. So then because like on a psychosomatic level, like psycho meaning your brain, the way you think, psychology, somatic meaning your body, on that level, because how you think and your thought patterns create feelings, right? And these feelings affect your body. When you're stressed out, you like, for me, when I get stressed out, my shoulders tighten. I'm like this, I contract a lot. And then now I need to go get a massage because I'm just so tight all over my body, right? Like you experience these feelings in your body. So then a lot of times, what are we trying to avoid, especially when it comes to trading? For me, it was lost, like the feeling of loss. Because, okay, I'll tell you what I journaled out. So my heart feels like it's being squeezed. My throat closes up, my stomach tightens, my mind and emotions become numb. Like now I go into a trauma response, a survival mechanism. I go numb, I freeze. So like I realize that this is an abandonment wound that is being activated. So it feels the same. Like I've had like pretty traumatic things happen in my childhood. So like one time my mom actually tried to kick me out of the house when I was 11 years old. And then oh, anyway, so like it brings back up the same feeling of abandonment because when I lose, like my money is leaving me. So when you have wounds like this, it plays out in all area of your life, especially money. So and the thought behind that is I'm in trouble and I'll be abandoned. And that's like, it like activates all your survival instincts, right? Because like I would die if I'm abandoned. So then I have to really look at then, okay, if, oh, like I feel like there's a lot of relief right there, even just naming that and being aware of that. So like now that I'm aware of that, that's what I'm trying to avoid. Okay, I don't need to be scared of it because I've experienced that before. It didn't feel good and I am still okay. Like I was able to sit in those emotions and let those emotions be and to move forward. So now that I've done that, what do I want to feel? I want to win. I want to make money because that feels good. And what does that feel like in my body? And start tuning into these sensations, like start feeling them, imagining yourself winning. And because you feel something in your body, like it feels expansive, it feels exciting, maybe your heart beats a little bit faster because of the excitement and the adrenaline. So like start feeling into those things because your whole, like when your body feels that way, your emotions respond, your thought pattern responds, you're literally reprogramming your mind and your body because now when you think this way, when you feel like winning, you're literally flooding your body with chemicals of winning. You're literally reprogramming your whole body. That's why you feel more expansive. That's why your heart your heart beats a little bit faster when you're excited, when you're winning, right? Like, and then getting your body used to those chemicals instead of where I was in fear and I think I would lose and I would be abandoned. Like those are like a certain set of chemicals that my body, my brain creates that floods my body, that gets my body to contract and now it doesn't feel good. So that's like, we're going really deep here. So these are questions that we have to ask ourselves. Some of the questions anyway, that it would be really beneficial to ask ourselves before we decide to get into trading. I know it's super deep, and like this is what I help people with is the the mindset and the psychology and how it affects your body. Like all of this stuff, like not a lot of people talk about this in trading because we're just so focused on charts and strategies and technicals and like all of that stuff, right? But this is the stuff that really matters because you trade from who you are, from your mind, from your emotions, from your soul, from your body. Like that's how you trade. So let's work on this first, right? Get this in alignment so that the desires that you want will reflect in your outer reality. So send me a message if you need help with this. I walk people like one-on-one coaching is where this is at. Like if you want to walk this out with support with somebody else who can ask you the right questions and we can dive deeper. If you want some help, like going through your fears and spiraling down and spiraling back up, we could do that. So send me a message and we can go from there.